So today I wanted to speak to you about the Denali S4 lights. I've been off-roading through the winter and I was really keen to become like an all-weather biker. Previously on roads I'd just sort of stuck to the summer, waited for a dry day, looked at the weather forecast, and that really reduces the amount of time you can get out. So I decided to try and go through the winter, go at night and go in any conditions. So even if it's raining, windy, I'm just going to go out on my bike. And that can take a little bit of commitment sometimes, but when you do, it feels amazing and it's so worth making that effort. So the Denali S4 lights really transformed how I did my nighttime riding. If you look at the video later on in this, where there's a comparison between the standard lights and the additional Denali S4 lights, the difference is, well, quite literally like night and day. So I hope you enjoy this video. I'm going to just sort of describe a little bit about how we actually fit the lights on this particular bike, but I'm sure there will be common themes on any bike you might want to fit them on. So have a look at the video later on, look at the comparisons. If you've got any comments, just feel free to put them underneath and I'll try and reply. Bear in mind, I am a newbie at this, hence my name, ADVU Newbie. I've not been doing this long. I do not pretend to be an expert, but I am learning as I go. I like researching, I like being a nerd, and I like finding out things. So just bear with me, you'll see my journey, you'll see the falls, you'll see everything else going on, and enjoy this video about the Denali lights. So let's have a look at the standard dip beam on the KTM 890 Adventure R. You can see it doesn't really go very far and it's fairly dim in dark lane. So let's have a look at the front of the lights, and you can see the diffusers. At the top we've got the spotlights, and at the bottom diffuser we've got the floodlights. Now you can change these around, have different combinations depending on what you want, whether you want distance or wide beam, but this is a good mix of the two as it stands. As we move around to the side, you can see the depth of the lights. There's a really big heat sink there. These are really powerful lights, and that heat sink is designed to dissipate that light. The lights are sealed, they are waterproof, and I've had no issues so far. And then I used the standard KTM brackets to fix on, and these were a very easy fit, just straight onto the frame with 2 bolts, and then the wiring goes back through. The standard wiring room is quite long, so you need to gather it up and cable tie it. I've got the data dim dual setting adapter on this, which you have to buy separately to plug in, and this gives you 2 different settings, the 100% or the 50% on the lights, which you can switch individually from a switch on the handlebars, and then you just find somewhere useful to tuck that in and get it out of the way. When it comes to routing the cable, some people say you should take the petrol tank off so you can have direct vision, but actually I found quite a good workaround on this, and if you take the orange battery case cover off with the 2 bolts and unclip it, you'll find quite a good channel underneath the centre of the petrol tank. Now as we go round to a slightly different shot, you'll see that there are 2 major electronics clips here, and they need to come off just to get you better access to the channel. They're very easy to take on and off, and you just unclip them. Probably best to take a photo or mark them just so you know which one goes back in which place. I've sort of memorised that, and then you can use a cable to get through. Please excuse the sound quality on the next clip. So I use quite a thick piece of wire to do this. It's some earth cabling wire, but really thick, probably about 6 cord, and I'm using that to go in the gap underneath. You might get some purists to say it's not a great idea, you don't know what it's going through, but actually there's quite a bit of space in there, and it's all cabling and tubing that does that. So I was pretty happy with it, and it went through very easily. You can gently feed this cable through the channel and it should wiggle about, there should be plenty of space, and it should pop out the other side. And then if you just give it a wiggle through, you'll see it poking out through the gap, and then you can use electrical tape to join on any connectors. You can see it's a really loose fit, so there's quite a good space under there. So use electrical tape to tape any plug ends through, make sure it's all nicely refined and smooth, and it should pull through easily. The biggest challenge I had was trying to find a constant 12-volt cable which was switched with the ignition, so the lights go out when you turn the ignition off. I did start disassembling the headlight assembly, but then decided that was too much and too complex. So in the end, I've put the spike connector into the fuel pump 12-volt cable, and that is switched on and off with the ignition, meaning the lights go off when you turn the ignition off. Okay, now for the exciting bit, let's see how the lights look when they're actually on the bike and out.
I'm driving down an empty freeway, no waiting for the light to change. I'm seeing the sunrise behind me.